Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Star Wars The Black Series Darth Maul action figure set from Hasbro. This set is number 2 from the 6-inch line of action figures in the Black Series, and was also part of the first wave of releases in this line. This set was first released in 2013 and sold at most retailers for about $20. And I got this set in the summer of 2013 when it just came out. And I purchased it at a toy show called the San Jose Super Toy Show and paid $30 for this set. And I later found another Darth Maul set at a Target and paid only $20 for that set. Taking a closer peek at Darth Maul here. Darth Maul, the Sith Lord from the first movie of the prequel trilogy. Very cool looking figure, and he comes with a few accessories there. And this figure set is within this nice packaging style, which premiered in the Black Series, both in the 4-inch form and the 6-inch form of figures. And the 6-inch form of figures are in a boxed format, which is pretty interesting because most of the previous Star Wars packaging of figures were in disposable packaging, basically plastic packaging on a backing card. But the Black Series premiered in, at least for the 6-inch figures, in box format, actually retainable box format, where you can actually reuse the packaging or put the figure back in packaging for display if you wanted, or for resale or whatever you wanted to do with it. But looking at the packaging, it's very nice. It's in this nice black finish, to represent the Black Series name. And you can see here the Star Wars logo and the Black Series, a line of figures. And you have a nice image here of the character, in this case Darth Maul. And it's also on the front here. And then in the nice clear window display, you have the figure in a very neutral pose, and it looks like Hasbro went to the efforts to make most of the figures in the Black Series packaged in neutral posing, so that any dynamic posing will not warp the limbs. So it's very cool that the neutral pose is in that stance, and you can clearly see the accessories included with the figure there. And behind the figure is just a simple design effect of the orange line down the side there. It's a Star Wars type of theme there, and it's very simple and clean, really to showcase the figure more than the packaging. So that's very nice. And here you have the number from the Black Series, number 2, with the name of the character there. Very nice. And of course you have the obligatory warning symbol for small parts, to warn parents for their kids. And then you have the Hasbro logo down at the corner. And here you have the extension of the window display there to see more of the figure and the accessories. And the other side, you just have a simple, smooth black box there with no graphic at all. So very simple design, but yet effective and very neatly done. Here on the back of the packaging, you have the Star Wars logo at the top. Again, the numbering and the sequence of the figure, for the figure, the name of the figure, and then you have, which I think is pretty neat, quotes for this particular set. And it's pretty neat. I'm sorry, above that you have a very brief description of the character, and then you have the quote beneath that. And these quotes are actually tailor-made for the specific figure or character in this particular set. And in this case, it's Darth Maul, and it has one of the most iconic lines from Darth Maul, who hardly spoke, but you have that quote there from the movie of The Phantom Menace. Very cool. And then you have this nice sort of graphic here of a scene from the movie. Very simple, black and gray, it looks like there, of Darth Maul battling the Jedi and Padawan there of Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then you have some print here down below, and a link to a website there. Hasbro logo once again, so pretty nice, effective packaging, and very cool in its simplicity. Now we'll be right back and have the contents of this set out of the box. Alright, we have Darth Maul here out of the packaging, and I'm very happy with this figure. I've been waiting for Star Wars figures to come out in 6-inch form, and they finally come to fruition, and I'm very happy about that. And to have Darth Maul, one of my more favorite characters in the prequel trilogy, come out pretty early as the first wave is a nice treat. And we're going to go ahead and take a closer peek at this figure, but before we do that, we're going to take a look at the accessories that come included. And the first accessory we have here are a set of binoculars, basically sculpted to fit Darth Maul here, and it's very nicely sculpted and painted. You can see lots of details on it, and looks very much like the one used in the movies when Darth Maul was on Tatooine. And you can see the details here where you look through the eyes, through the lenses, I'm sorry, and right there, and that's the single lens out there. And it's pretty cool. It even has some paint details on what look like buttons, red and black buttons there. Very cool. Even has a hint of gold over here. Looks like faded intentionally to indicate wear and use. And it's very, very nice. And it also has some knobs beside the lenses here. It's just a nicely detailed accessory, and the Darth Maul figure can hold it pretty well. You just slip it through the fingers, between the finger and the thumb, and he has a nice solid grip on the binoculars there. So pretty nice accessory here to include. The next accessory we have are the double-bladed lightsabers, which is, I guess, a requisite to include with the character. And it comes in 2 sections here, in case you want to set up display of the Padawan slicing Darth Maul's lightsaber in half there. But you can join them together. There is a peg on one end of the lightsaber here, a D-shaped peg or a half-moon shaped peg. So you can fit it into the other end of the lightsaber in only one direction there. And it has a nice tight fit on there. And it's soft enough where you can actually bend it if it's kind of warped. So you can bend it into shape to straighten out the lightsaber there. And you can see the details on the handles of the lightsaber. Very detailed. You can see sculpting detail here and painted detail here on the, what look like buttons. Very cool. And you just look at that detail on the edges of the blade or the handle there. It's very, very cool. And you can see here what looks like part of the lightsaber. It's actually a peg, and you can peg it onto the side of there you go, the belt area of Darth Maul. There's a peg hole right there. So if you wanted to have him just having his blade lightsaber holstered, you can put it there or hanging off his belt. In order to do that, you'd have to remove the blades here, and mine are actually a tight fit. And I had difficulty initially pulling these blades out, but they can be pulled off. I usually try to twist and pull, and you can pull it off right there. So, there we go. And we have a retracted lightsaber here that you can put hang off the side of the Darth Maul figure. So that's pretty cool that these are able to plug in and plug out of the lightsaber on the blades. And these blades are translucent red plastic. So typically used in the 4-inch scale figures, but in, of course, smaller scale. But pretty cool to have those. Next thing we'll take a look at is the extra head that comes included in the set. It's basically Darth Maul without his hood, and actually a different expression on his face compared to the other head that's on the figure. This extra head here is got a more of a scowl on his face, and you can see the details on that. It's very nice and very well painted on here. One thing I noticed on the 4-inch scale figures of earlier releases of Darth Maul, the paint gets a little sloppy around the horns where there's too much of the bone painted on the horns. But this one here, it's just on the tips, and it's very well done. It's not overly painted on there, and it's actually kind of cool. And then you have the striping on the face here. It's done very well on here, and as well as the pupils to the eyes. I don't know if you could see that on there, but it's done very well here as well. And it's just a very good job of paint application. Now, some figures I've seen, other Darth Maul figures, the eyes are just a little bit wonky, but most of them are on spot on as well on the application on the paint. So this is pretty cool. Nice to have an unhooded version of the head, mainly because of the head that's on the figure, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Darth Maul figure here. Now, this figure comes packaged with a hooded version, and you can see Darth Maul here wearing his cloak that he wore throughout the movie until the climactic battle between Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But very, very nice. Very detailed. You could see all the sculpting detail that went into this figure, and in the hood area in particular. You can see all the folds on the cloak here, even sculpted areas for the hood of the cloak. Very nicely done, and even changes in the texture here. Very, very cool. Now, this cloak is a separate piece from the figure. It's made of a very soft rubberized plastic, which is nice on there. And it is a separate piece other than on the head of the figure. The hood is actually glued to the head of this figure, which is pretty interesting on here. They could have gone the route of a 4-inch scale vintage collection Darth Maul figure, where it was a separate piece, not in the hood. It was a separate piece from both the cloak and the head, and it was made of a harder plastic. But they went the route of actually gluing the soft plastic hood onto the head, and the hood is actually part of the cloak. So very interesting choice that they did on here. One of the things I have an issue with on this cloak is it's very restrictive, even with the very soft material that they use for this cloak. It is very restrictive to the figure in terms of posability. you really are very limited in the amount of poses you can have Darth Maul in with the cloak, which is unfortunate. Part of the restrictiveness is in the head area. You can't really pose the figure's head in any direction other than straight forward, not even really up or down, and that's because the cloak and the hood are a part of the head on here, which is unfortunate. This now, if the hood was a separate part of the cloak, maybe you might free the movement of the head, but it's not. Another part of the restriction on this figure is in the arms. With the cloak, you really can't get some posing options with a cloaked Darth Maul, because you can see it starts to bend and become awkward in the posability on there, and also kind of restricted. Even though they sculpted or cut deep holes into the sides here under the arms, it's still restrictive, especially in the upward and forward movement of the arms, which is unfortunate. It has me almost tempted to actually cut along some over here on the sculpture of the arm. There's a crease going down here, and I'm almost tempted to cut a slit along this crease on both sides to at least free up the forward movement of the arm without distorting the front part of the cloak here. But I'm not that brave enough to do it. Maybe when I become more brave, I may do it, or when I get a second figure to play around with. But in the meantime, it's going to remain this way for the cloak. But I may end up doing that in the future. But without the cloak on the figure, it frees up a lot of the articulation of the figure, and also reveals a lot more of the figure itself, because it's not covered. And we're going to go ahead and remove the cloak and the alternate head, and the easiest way I figured out to do that is to bend the arms backwards and then pop off the head, and then just go ahead and remove it from the arms there. And now you can see how the head is glued on to the hood of the cloak there, and it's pretty interesting. And this is a good time to compare the two heads here. You can see how the uncloaked head has got a meaner looking scowl on his face compared to the hooded version. They're a more calm and serene version of Darth Maul with the hood on there. And we're going to go ahead and pop on the head of Darth Maul there to show the unhooded, uncloaked version of the figure. And as you can see, it reveals a lot more of the figure, which is pretty neat, and a lot more details of the figure, which is very nice. And we're going to go ahead and start off moving top down on the figure with the head, as we shown earlier. Now with this head on the figure, it looks more menacing and threatening, and due to the sculpt of the face. It is actually very nice, and you can actually see the ears on this figure on there, and a similar paint that was applied to this figure head there. And moving down, you could see he does still wear, I guess, a sort of outfit very similar to the Jedi, without their cloaks, but this one in Sith form, in primarily black, which is pretty cool. And you can see how it goes over the shoulder and around the arm, and this clothed arm here is a separate piece from this part on the torso, which is very nice. And you can see the gloves that he wears, very glossy gloves, and a glossy belt on here, which is pretty neat. And you could see more of the outfit that goes underneath the belt and hangs and drapes over the top portion of the leg. And this is actually a combination of cloth goods and plastic material here. So you can see the outer part here is a soft rubberized type plastic, while underneath you have some cloth goods of more of his, I guess, outfit there, which is pretty cool. Pretty nice to have a combination of that. And you can see on the back how that's thicker rubberized material, and then you have the cloth goods underneath that. So pretty neat. And you can see some of the sculpting detail here. Nice folds in the cloth and along the arms. Very, very nice on there. And as I shown earlier, there's a peg hole here where you can attach a retracted lightsaber. And on the legs, you can see where's these leggings that are loose fitting and hang a bit over the boot area, which is very nice. And that's sculpted of very hard plastic there, and is very neat. It has some texture detail on here that's different from the other parts of the figure, which is pretty nice. And moving down here to the boots, you have nice glossy boots, very similar to the gloves. And it's very nice detail on the sculpt there. You can see some buckles on here on the side. Really neat. And one thing I do have an issue, and I think it's just my particular figure on the boot areas, I have some warpage on the back end of the boot there. You can see how the back end actually is warped in a downward position, as opposed to the other one here where it's pretty much level. And I think that's maybe just my particular figure. It does present some issues with standing the figure. I have to work with my particular figure to get it to stand on there to compensate for the angle on the back of the foot there. So what I can probably do is apply some hot and cold water or heat to loosen that up and position it in a more normal position, and I may try to do that later on. So going over articulation for this Darth Maul figure, the head is on a ball hinge joint, so you can turn the head all the way around. And you can actually position the head downwards quite a bit, and upwards a bit as well. There is slight side-to-side movement, but not too much there. The arms at the shoulders can go all the way around, as well as out about that much and inwards. There is a combination of joints at the elbows, a hinge joint that allows you to bend the arms about that much, and that far hyperextended there. And there is also a swivel at the elbow, so you can turn the lower arm all the way around. There is no swivel at the top of the glove that's compensated here at the elbow. But there is a hinged swivel joint at the wrist that allows the left hand to bend inwards and outwards. Very stiff on mine, and can go all the way around at the wrist. And the right hand is hinged along the sides of the hand, so you can bend the hands side to side on the right hand. And that's, I think, for the sword wielding hand or saber wielding hand there. And the hand can go all the way around on the right as well. There is I think a ball socketed joint in the lower torso or just above the waist. You can bend the figure downwards and up and back and side to side, as well as around. Going all the way around is a little bit difficult to do, but you can do it. And so you can get a variety of poses and between the upper and lower torso there, so that's kind of neat. The legs at the hip are a ball socketed joint right there, and can go upwards about that much. Back a little bit, it's restricted due to the back of the outfit here hanging under the belt, and can go out to the side about that much and in. And there is a swivel very close to the hip, and on mine are very, very tight. They can go all the way around on the leg there. There are double hinges at the knees, and again, mine are very stiff to move the joints there. You can see it can go that far back and this far forward. And the feet at the ankles are on a hinged swivel joint that produces quite a bit of articulation movement. You can bend the foot upwards and downwards quite a ways, and you can swivel at an angle to produce an ankle pivot on there, which is becoming more common in Hasbro action figures. So a nice array of movement for the foot and ankle area. Overall, a great figure of a great character in the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, and I'm pretty happy to have this figure early on in the Black Series release, which is very, very nice to have. And I really do recommend getting this figure. It's very much nicer quality than previous Star Wars release characters, especially going into the 6-inch line. This is my casual peek into the Star Wars The Black Series Darth Maul action figure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.